Hey guys, welcome in Unpaved. I'm Sean. JB will be along in just a second, along with Triple E. Grateful to have you along. And at 12:30, in about 30 minutes, Mike Golic, Big Mike Golic, Senior. He'll join me, and we'll roll through some stuff and have good times. One of the original NFL Tonight, NFL Live. He and I were the original co-hosts on there, along with my guy Merrill Hodge. But Golic will join me, Mike will here shortly, and we'll just cover the full gamut. And what a thrill it is. I'm sure he gets to work with his son on a regular basis. That, I think, is every guy's dream. But we'll get an opportunity to talk to Mike and career and life stuff, and it'll be pretty cool how he feels about the transfer portal as a Notre Dame guy, and not only in basketball or football, but basketball and a lot of things in the NFL game and where it is now compared to when he was rolling with it and his former team was a Super Bowl champ. So Mike will join me here in about 30 minutes. Let me bring in JB. I start here, guys. JB, great to be with you. Coach JB, you catch him on Twitter, and I'm at Sean Unfiltered on Twitter. Tell your friends about this.
Morning.
Well, good morning. We'll do authentic. We always do authentic on here. It's afternoon somewhere. Afternoon out where I am.
So can I drink?
What's that? You can drink even if it's 10 a.m., brother, back on the West Coast. Pro days. Listen, I am never going to take somebody. I'm going to give them their flowers and take somebody's shine away. I've always believed that the combine, when it comes to judging, I know we got to get measurements and do that, and 40 times and all that is overrated when it comes to as a guy, a football player. Now, that's why all the tape comes in. It's a made-for-TV event. I get that. And then the pro day is a chance on your own turf to shine. And I do not want to take away from how important it is to shine and to, do things well. But I can tell you this, I also don't want to put too much on it to say that, man, we've done this before. And I'll go back to Zach Wilson's pro day when he made the go into his left, throwing back across his body, which everybody is doing now, that the whole place went to hell in a handbasket. He raised up into the top 5 picks. And while a really good, talented arm, it hasn't quite worked out the way that people thought it was going to work out for Zach's career, needless to say, as a starting quarterback in this league. And has had his struggles since. But boy, oh boy, could he throw it in a pair of shorts and a T-shirt. Like I said, when you say something like this, everybody say, oh, what a hater. But I've been saying this for years. Since I've been on TV at ESPN and all the way to now. That's a lot of years, man, is that it should be pretty easy to throw in shorts and a T-shirt. I don't care if it's Cam. I don't care if it's Zach Wilson. But I think and I know it's the viral stuff that we want to see, and they're implementing all this stuff. I think from a quarterback evaluator standpoint, JB, I want to see his mechanics and where his load and where the ball is, and meaning where he holds it, how quickly he rolls through his stuff, his action and his lower half and all those things mechanically that sometimes equal great play under pressure, Tom Brady, and sometimes off schedule stuff. The Mahomes and Josh Allen, they make things happen. Mechanics go to shit. That's okay. But I know that mechanics sustain you and all that stuff that you find. But in shorts and a T-shirt, I can set it up any way I want, JB, for success. So a guy will make one spectacular throw. I want to know, can you do the simple things too? Just a simple arrow route or flat route. Can you throw it on time? But I don't really learn much from my vantage point. In shorts and a T-shirt, the pro day, it's a great thing for TV, and we're broadcasting. Whoa, look at that curl route. Well, I mean, you should be able to throw a 12-yard curl and a 18-yard comeback back to 15 and a speed out with accuracy. The ball shouldn't hit the ground very often, JB, in these workouts. Listen, I can lump any quarterback I want in there. Now, the problem is if you go through a pro day and that ball hits the ground 12 times because you missed a throw behind on a bang post or a comeback that was inside or a speed out that was late, you're taking a hitch on under center 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, take a hitch and throw. You got to throw in rhythm on those 5 speed outs, 10 roll to 12, all those things, bubble screens. If the ball's hitting the ground, I'm more alarmed on a pro day if it's inaccurate than I am, and good weather, than I am somebody's spectacular pro day where he's dropping balls in 45 yards deep and it's dropping in where it's supposed to on a deep ball, and on a deep dig route where he's rolling it to 20 and the guy's pumping it in there. That should happen. So, JB, your thoughts on this for me, and I guess supposedly Cam Morton, watching some of the clips, had a really good pro day, but also there were some that were missed on simple throws. I just think the easy ones every quarterback should make. There are certain things you'll see with the guy's feet. Can he throw on the run, accurately and with velocity? And can he throw across his body? Which those are the sometimes plays, not the all the time plays. I want to know about the all the time plays, because if you can't make the everyday play, the all the time plays, the simple plays, you're no good to me when you make the spectacular play, because then you're going to complete like 48% of your passes. Does that remind you of anybody? I'm not saying Cam. There's a guy in Indianapolis who can make all those spectacular plays. Can he make the simple ones? Well, not in shorts and in shorts and a t-shirt, but I'm talking about in shoulder pads and a helmet. So I know we got to have these. Not making a big deal of it either way, good or bad. We overdo it for viral hits and for social media. But anybody worth their salt on a pro day that has a clue that's scouting these guys, it's a small part of your day. Now, if you go out there and you're a receiver and you run 4.8 and you're supposed to be a 4.59 guy, alarming. But I'm just talking about from the pure mechanics of dropping back, throwing a ball, running RPO, hitting slants on time, making sure you're not taking hitches on bang posts. You're doing all the things that they ask you to do. And the ball's on time and in rhythm. That's what you're supposed to do. It's not great. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, a back shoulder throw, a hole shot up in the hole where it's just coming off your hand and it whistles and it comes off a little different, like a hitter in the batter's box who's hitting it during batting practice 420 and then all of a sudden pumps one 500 feet. Okay, that's a little eye-popping. But I don't make a big deal over pro days, brother. I'm sorry. If the pro day matches the shorts and a helmet or shoulder pads and helmet, I'm all in. If the pro day is a massive, great one and the shoulder pads and helmet show me that under pressure, late in the first half, late in the game, under duress, down 6, you got to drive, you're not making those throws, your pro day doesn't mean shit to me. Now, if you're making those plays, and Cam Ward made plenty of them during the regular season, and then go have a pro day, all that yesterday is validation that he's the best quarterback in this draft, at least going into it. So, JB, your take on you're standing out there watching a pro day, your expectations.
It's a fucking joke. I'm just going to be honest. The going left, throwing on the run this way, that you'll never do in a game, or at least not accurately in a game, unless you're.
You do that at the end of a half, or so you're trying to make a play when it's scrambled. If you do that more than 5 times a year, then something's wrong.
And to show it off as if that's what you're going to do, you're not Matthew Stafford, son. I'm sorry, and you're not Mahomes, at least not yet. Let's get in there and throw a fucking hitch ball on time first. That's what blows my mind. The anointing of these kids because they ooh and all you in shorts and shirts on a draft on in the comfortable space, being at home at your home field with your wide receivers you just threw through in college, instead of doing it on the global scale at Indianapolis during the actual combine. You rather do it at home. I'm not giving you any credence to. I'm not giving you any kudos. I'm not patting you on the back. Show me what you can do. We all were ooh and awed by AR5, Sean. How freakishly gifted he was, and he's a below 50% passer. I mean, it is what it is. Like, let's pump our brakes here.
JB, and listen, I understand why we do it. I've never in my life felt like a quarterback should not rise and fall. I'm just sorry to tell you. Should not rise and fall in shorts and a t-shirt, throwing the ball. I'm not talking about this 40-yard dash. If a guy runs a 4.4 and he runs a 4.3 as a quarterback, great. I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about if he's 6'5", 230, all those things, the measurables. I'm talking about the other things. The great quarterbacks in this league, and we're only talking Cam Ward because it was his pro day. If it was somebody else's. Joe, I want everybody, you can lump all the quarterbacks into one. My expectations are this. Tape's about 95% of it. 90% of it. I need to interview you and find out where you're going and kind of look into your eyes and just get an idea. I need to talk to your coaches, your quarterback coach, players that were in the meeting room with you. I need to talk. If I'm taking you that high in the first 5, there can't be a lot of ifs by your name. If you do this, if you do that, I need to know you're pretty that this is a major investment for my franchise. It's either changing my franchise in a good way or leaving us behind in a bad way, which we've seen. The Jets still haven't recovered from Zach Wilson. They just haven't. And we see this happen all the time. So this is not a Cam Ward thing for me. We can make specific Cam Ward in a second. This is the overall what this day does. It's the social media goes crazy when we see a guy. I've seen it every year. Some guy, a draft guru or somebody who's a fan of that team, a guy will drop a 45-yard go route in on it against shorts and a t-shirt, 5 yards. 5-step hitch and throw and a catch. Oh, what a great throw. Every guy that's ever played in this league can go 5 and a hitch, throw a 45 to 50-yard deep ball. If you go 5 and hitch 3 times and throw it 65 yards, we don't do that in games unless you're scrambling. We don't take it and hold it. By that time, the free safety's already intercepted that ball and you're done anyway. We like to see arm strength. Can you throw it flat-footed? Things you don't use in a game very often, but the off-schedule stuff, a drill 5 or 6 or 7, 8 throws or going left and throwing across your body that we ooh and ah about. I think that's great. It's good made for TV, social media stuff. And if you make it happen like Josh Allen has in a game, like Stafford on a hole shot, like Mahomes does falling towards the sidelines, throwing sidearm, but that'll happen twice a year. It's the on-schedule stuff. So for me, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Here's what I'm looking for. Now, if you miss that deep ball 5 times in a row in shorts and a T-shirt, then I got a problem. Or you underthrow it, or you miss inside, or you throw it out of bounds. Now the alarm sets off. All I'm doing on my pro day is validating what I saw on tape, either validating good or bad. Oh, that guy couldn't throw a deep ball in a game, and he can't throw it here either. But if you can't throw it in pads and a helmet, then your shorts and a T-shirt, now you're good for the frat league, 7-on-7 frat league, or for viral videos that everybody goes, man, you see that guy? Boy, he threw that post route. Great. They can all throw the post route. Some maybe a little harder, some a little farther. But there's a rhythm that goes with it. I want to see how you do in structure there. And then we'll do a couple drills off structure. That's fine. So, JB, I don't learn much from pro days. I learn more going in, and we talk ourselves out of it. I learn more about a guy if he is horseshit than I do if he's great. I expect Cam Ward to throw the ball where it doesn't hit the ground. Exactly. I expect Shedeur Sanders to throw the ball there. He's throwing posts and hitches and curls and comebacks and outs and arrows and swing routes out of the backfield and option routes by the tight end, or a dig route over the middle, or a bender down the middle on play action at the 25. You hold the mic and throw all those things I want to see in that action. There's no doubt I want to see it. So I'm not going to bury a kid for going out there and throwing and doing it all what they want him to do, and he's scripted the throws. That's cool, but don't miss them. And that's for anybody. Jackson Dart, I don't care who it is, from back to Andrew Luck's time all the way up to now. But it's the tape that we're doing. But we will sell this so much. We're going to come out of that. I was reading an article on one of these. I'll leave the service out. But talking about, oh, my gosh, the ball feathers in there like you can hit. It's got a different noise to it. He made the ball spirals and he throws. That's what's supposed to happen. It's like a 2-yard gain on a running back in a game. What a great run. No, it wasn't a great run. He's supposed to fall forward for 2 yards. So I caution anybody this. Cam Ward's a player, but I'm not just talking him. But I know this, JB, I can't miss slant routes and hitch routes, or I can't miss curl routes or dig routes or post routes against air, because then that's the alarming part to me. The tape is the most of it. It's fun, and it's fun to banter about and go on and list. So this guy's deep ball, he threw it farther. Matter of fact, there's going to be 0 times in your career that you drop back and throw it 75 yards. 0. Now, you may do that before a game in a contest with the fellas. You ain't doing it on the field. And rarely are you ever going to attempt a Hail Mary from your own 25-yard line. That doesn't happen either, no matter who's throwing it. So to me, the shorts and T-shirt stuff, I don't put a lot of stock into it, JB. I don't, unless the ball's hitting the ground. And then I look at it like, damn, what's going on? So this goes for any guy that's lining up. Judge your quarterback. Go in and back, watch the games, the 4 quarters of games. What do they do in certain situations? And I like, how's your footwork? Boom, can you slide around? And it's still not real when it's in shorts and a T-shirt, but I do want to see how quickly you put your foot up and get it down. You throw your feet on the ground, where the ball stays loaded. When you decide to move, does the ball drop out of slot so you got to reload to throw? All those mechanical things that I'm not going to tell the layman who doesn't understand that anyway. But I am saying that if you're an evaluator, a general manager, a head coach, they better not get caught up in the 1 throw or the 2 throws off schedule, because that isn't how quarterbacks live in success in this league. And that's Mahomes included. Look what they play, sideways football. They play horizontal football a lot there. Can you get this little hitch route? Can you hit Kelsey on a 10-yard bang-off option route? We make such a big deal of this. And the combine, I mean, the pro days are fun, but they're not how I judge a quarterback. It's a matter of fact, it's a small part of it. Now, if you're a wide receiver and you're catching balls behind your back and you're running 4.29s, now it's different. But the quarterback, the throwing mechanics and mechanism that is a pro day, the only thing that gets me, we'll all say, oh, wow, Zach Wilson, did you see that throw? But can you make him in shoulder pads and a helmet and I'm getting hit in the damn mouth. Those things, it's the negative part. If you can't complete balls in the pro day that bothers me. I don't much care about a pro day. I never have.
Nah, me either. Sean, you got breaking news too. Another one hits. What is it? Another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
You and I talked about it last week, and we're passionate about it. He's a friend of mine. I don't know if you know Troy at all, but Stanford's fired Troy Taylor after the so-called woman being in the space allegation. So it's official. Fucking joke.
Well, it's about Troy. Troy did good things as a player and a coach there. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't do the things that he wanted to record-wise as a coach. JB, we got into that last week. For folks, you can go look in the archives of one of our past shows. But the coaches these days, I mean, all it takes is you to drop an F-bomb around the wrong person or to raise your voice a little bit on the practice field. And if some soft-ass snowflake can't handle it, you're in trouble. And I think he deserved better than that. Record-wise, you want to fire him because of record, that's one thing, JB. They didn't win a lot. 6-18? Yeah, there you go. 3-9 the 2 seasons. I get that 100%. But hard because you coach hard or you swear, or some people think you're a little abrasive or mean to somebody on the practice field or in the game. I don't mean yanking a girl's ponytail on the sidelines in a high school basketball game. You got to fire that guy immediately. I'm talking about just real life coaching, competitive situations. We have completely buried the ability to coach the way that some guys coach, and doesn't mean you always have to be a yeller and screamer. There's got to be room for the quiet guy and the yeller and screamer. If you're offended by everything that comes out of a guy's mouth on the field, or somebody doesn't talk to you the way you want, meaning he's mean to you or you find that way. I don't know the depth of this story other than what I read. JB, you may know a little deeper because you're friends with him. We are overdoing it at some places and putting these coaches in a bad way, where player empowerment now carries into, I didn't like the way he coached me or talked to me, so I'm gonna make sure he's out.
Yeah, it's a joke. I don't know. I'm glad I'm not coaching anymore.
I am too. I have no interest in that organized coaching where if you raise your voice and you got to go in and you get to go to the principal. I don't mind going to the principal's office for stuff and who hasn't been there, but when you go to the principal's office for something that, you coached a little harder than the last guy, I got a problem. Well, back to this, JB. So what do you learn at a pro day, JB?
What am I wearing?
What do you learn?
Oh, nothing.
Have you ever judged a player what you've seen in shorts and a T-shirt other than straight line speed or jumping ability?
No, the only thing that comes to mind is the innovativeness of Johnny Manziel's trainer the year of the combine, where he came out in pads, if you remember. And
helmet.
I thought that was okay. Now we're more simulating a real workout. I want to see this guy with 12 to 15 pounds of gear on, sweating a lot harder because of the helmet and the gear, and then see the throws. And he impressed me on that pro day. Obviously, Merrill Hodge, your good friend, called it just like I did. I didn't think he was going to be a great pro. He ended up not being one, but I did like that. And I would love to see that being a trend. But it never happened again, Sean. And that was how long ago? 15 years? I don't know.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that you just can't. And I think most of the people we know that evaluate them or that coaches, they're watching a little, they're putting a smile on their face, they're painting, oh, that's impressive. But it's the tape and the interview, JB. That's
and the Titans, Sean, just released that they're going to privately work him out as of about 3 minutes ago because they're mulling over taking him at that one slot. And
his game tape says he can play. Now, who knows? We don't know how it's going to be 3 or 4 years from now. But that's how I'm judging. The pro day to me is water cooler talk. So you can say, man, did you see him? We got to take him because he looked good throwing it around. But I'm judging these guys by what they do on Sunday or Saturdays during that season on Sundays. It's just validation one way or the other for me. That's all it is.
Sean, are you taking them one though? If you're the Tennessee Titans, knowing all those holes they have and having selected a quarterback 2 of the last 4 years, Malik Willis, they got rid of him for a Chico stick and string cheese. You got Will Levis now. Quarterbacks haven't panned out, and you continue to draft quarterbacks, Sean, but you still don't fill the holes on the roster.
It sets your franchise back. I'm going to answer that in 1 second, JB. Let me talk about my guys. Showed you yesterday. Look at the tall boy, JB. This is 0 sugar, 20 milligrams. It's got some THC in it, the legal number, and the making sure that you get the nutrients you need, but also if your body and your CBD, you need a little, you got pain in your shoulder right here. Prickly pear. You like prickly pear, JB? A nice little, see that right there?
Boom. I don't like too many things prickly.
Okay, well, I understand. Not any hair on your lady's legs or any of that. El Rancho, the Mas Grande prickly pear mocktail. Well, this is my guys to Spindle Tap Brewery. When you guys get here, you got to check it out. You can see the signs in the background. It's not just serving up world-class craft beer. We bring the boldest coffee at the next level. That's the coffee and the only coffee I drink. THC-infused beverages as well, straight to your door anywhere in the country, anywhere. And you see my El Rancho Mas Grande there. And whether you need a smooth cold brew to power your day, great beer. THC-infused drink to help you shift your self into the unwind mode, or Spindle Tap delivers literally anywhere. It delivers the unwinding part. It delivers to your front door as well. And they'll ship the premium coffee and THC beverages, the beer nationwide. So no matter where you live, the good times are coming to you. And I got news for you. Unboxing, they got all the merch and the rest. You see the signage, but the coffee, the drinks, the beer. I had a big delivery yesterday, and man alive, I need to ship it to some friends, including JB. And if you're in Houston, come on in, experience the Spindle Tap for yourself, the legendary craft beer, the great live events, big, beautiful facility, but boutique enough, concerts, great food, all there. And it's a vibe you won't forget. Spindle Tap Brewery, brews, beans, and beyond. Order now at spindletap.com. That's spindletap.com, and bring the experience home. And you can get yourself one of these with some CBD and THC, the legal limit, and deliver it right to your door. Among craft beers and Mexican beer, they do it all right there at Spindle Tap Brewery. There you go, spindletap.com. There is no better. And grateful to my guys, Brody Chapman and the group over there, and the brewmaster who's putting all this great stuff together. All right, JB, to answer your question, about would I take him one? And here's why. When I say you have to, why I would lean towards. Is there better football players? Yeah, I do. Abdul Carter's a hell of a player.
Hey, speaking of that, take a look at this. Abdul Carter's not very happy about the quarterback being mentioned. He went to Twitter, Sean, and said, #1 overall pick, 30 days away. Don't let all this quarterback need talk fool y'all. Yeah. It's already known who the best, and no quarterback is in that discussion. Like I said, the best player goes #1.
There you go. Well, and he's not wrong, but unfortunately, he's wrong on the point that best player. Unfortunately, the optics of drafting a quarterback first. First of all, that's admitting if they draft a quarterback that they missed on Will Levis, who was not a first-round pick, but they missed. Secondly, they haven't had much luck lately doing that. Well, lately, it's been a minute for them. Well, they had to go out and get Tannehill, who played Pro Bowl football for a couple of years. But here's why you say, would I take him? To me, Carter, and you get, Travis Hunter, you're getting football players that I believe in 10 years are still going to be big-time players. There's a lot of ifs that surround the quarterbacks in this draft. Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, Jackson Dart. We don't have anybody that jumps out and says that's a no-brainer. Now, there's never a guarantee, but it's close to one. When Elway came out, we thought Andrew Luck was going to be a monster. Now we're getting some success from some really great players. I mean, Stroud, there were questions that surrounded him when he came out, and he answered those. Jaden Daniels did his thing. So it does happen, but you're taking a risk because it sets your franchise back. But I think for optics, for what's going on at the quarterback position, JB, it does start there. I almost think they have to. And then here's what happens. You start to get that ball rolling with the pro day. And you know what goes on, JB. The fans get viral. Oh, my gosh, they start to buy into it. They may not have seen. I had a guy one year, this honest to God truth, man. I'm on my local radio show, calls me and calls the show and didn't like drafting Davis Mills in the 3rd round. And I said, why? I said, I gave him the scenario, played 11 games as a starter, been through some injuries, but I said, he can still spin it pretty well. I said, why don't you like him? I just want to know from the fan. And he said to me, and some fans are really smart. And this guy's a smart guy. He's called on my show a million times since. He said, well, I just don't like him. I said, okay, well, how often do you see him play? He goes, I've seen him on – I said, how often do you watch – how many games do you watch him play? And he said, none. I said, so wait a minute now. You don't like him because of some mock draft guy who went on there. Somebody said something. You never seen him play. You know nothing about his game or what his strengths and weaknesses are other than the injury part where he's banged up. and you third round pick, you just say it's a wasted pick and we should have done. I just don't like his game and he shouldn't be our quarterback. And when he said, I haven't watched him, I had to say, okay, call back another time. We'll catch back up. But that's what I'm saying is you got to actually watch it to understand what you're getting. But the viral stuff, and fans know a lot, but the viral stuff's going to go crazy and it's going to force more pressure on Tennessee not to take the best player, best quarterback, but there are better football players in this draft that could probably impact you from a different position right now. But you're going to draft Cam Ward more than likely, and you're going to play him right off the bat and see what he can do. Because he truly is better than the guy they got there right now. Far more accurate, a far better playmaker. Will Levis has got more arm than Cam Ward does. The problem is Will Levis, sometimes you wonder, well, he just threw it through a car wash and didn't get it wet. The problem is he missed the original car wash by 47 feet. That's the problem.
The problem is, too, that if Cam Ward's stock is indeed rising, can you get more for him if you trade that pick? And the Titans need more holes. I would consider it. If I'm just saying.
Yeah, JB. And then maybe get another quarterback later.
Get Russell Wilson for the year. Fuck.
Right. And then go get two more good players with that. You can, a couple more. I'm with you. I just think you say, why would I? Well, I'm always looking because without that guy, if he becomes that guy, the dude, then you don't want to miss out. And a lot of times people are more afraid that somebody else that they miss on a guy than if they get him and it doesn't happen. Well, it's always a crapshoot at quarterback. It's the hardest position to judge and to evaluate in all of sports because you don't know. Well, you draft Brady in the 6th round, you don't know in his heart or his gut what kind of guts he has on the NFL level, and then you get to 10 Super Bowls and win 7 of them with him. So it's obvious, but I'm telling you, that's Captain Obvious. The key is you can't let outside pressure. You can't let social media or me and you choose your quarterback or your player. You got to punch and say, who is the best player that's going to help me win the fastest or make the biggest difference? And that is right there with the decision you have to make. Now, are you need or do you draft on best player available? Right now, the Titans need a lot of everything. The question is, do you take the quarterback because you think you got the next Jaden Daniels or Josh Allen, or do you take another guy because there's too many ifs that surround the quarterback and you can either get by signing a Russ Wilson or somebody to hold you over until, quite frankly, there's a better class coming down the pike, or you wait till the 2nd or 3rd round and take another flyer like you did on Will Levis, or you say, well, we can live with Levis one more year. Let me go get Hunter. Let me go get Abdul Carter, whoever it is that you like, that you know you're going to pencil in and is going to impact you. Who is going to impact their franchise quicker, JB, and longer? Right now, I would say it's not a quarterback in this draft, although I think Cam Ward is the best one, and I get why you'd be tempted to take him because of their situation.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But I would definitely I wouldn't sell my I wouldn't put my house on this draft class.
No, I won at that position, especially 100% agree. And Abdul Carter's not far off yet. You know how it is, man. The enticement of the quarterback lures a lot of people in and gets coaches fired just as often as it gets them rehired with a lot more money. JB, before you go, let me get this, and I want to get one last thought before I bring in Mike Golic here. A1 Powered Funding, the golden age is here. Small business owners, the golden age of America is here. Opportunities are everywhere, but you need to take advantage of the capital to take advantage of them. AI.tricera.com. We use cutting-edge AI technology to match your business with the right funding sources instantly, whether you need $250,000 or $100 million. We have the capital and programs for businesses of all sizes. Ray Smith, CEO of Tricera, built a Fortune 100 level business credit and funding system powered by AI, which is the norm now. That's what we're doing. So you can secure funding faster, and it is fast and urgent than ever before. No personal credit, no personal risk. It's just AI-driven funding that works. The golden age of America is here. Are you ready to claim your share? Go to ai.tricera.com now. ai.tricera.com. Funding made simple, powered by AI. Small business owners, take notice. All right, JB, real quick. Women's college hoops. As an SC fan, I think Juju Watkins is a phenomenal basketball player. Shreds her knee. I've been there twice. Or tears her ACL. Down near the basket. They go on and win. We're going to save the conversation you and I had pre-show, JB, till tomorrow about there's way too many teams in college basketball. They're getting beat by 100 points. We can't do this. If you're worried about your kids' self-esteem, worry about them in college. They're getting their ass kicked. But to Juju, this sucks. She'll overcome it. She's a beast and a specimen and a great basketball player, and by all accounts, a great person from everybody I've talked to at USC, and it's magnetic, great leader. This is probably the first bit of adversity she's probably ever been through in her career at JB, and it's a bummer as a sophomore, phenomenal freshman year, and she'll be a phenomenal pro, but man, it sure greatly reduces our chance, even though we got a good team at SC, it sure reduces my school's chance to go win a national championship. And she had them primed and ready to make a run because she is special. And our thoughts go to her, and hopefully it's a quick recovery, man. What a bummer.
Yeah, they're a team that could have made a run here. Them and UCLA both could have made a run here at the South Carolina UConns, Ole Miss, Notre Dame's, and all these guys that are really good in the girls' game. Now it seems like, without their superstar, how far can they actually go? They got a tough K-State team coming up this weekend, and hopefully your Trojans can overcome it.
Yep, JB, and you know this. One thing that we've seen compared to years ago, and I know medical and modern medicine and all that, and great doctors and great rehab equipment. But if this happens in 1981, 1982, they're far more concerned than happen in 2025. These athletes are so special. They got so much at their disposal to train and to rehab. And you're not just worried about them coming back. I mean, you don't worry as much of them coming back. You also, and their bodies heal quickly at young ages, is that a lot of times they come back, they don't miss a step. And I would not expect, even with the torn ACL, because when I had plaster cast on and do all that, the range of motion after about 8 weeks, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to, you're in a cast and the rest of it. Now, hell, they're walking. I had knee replacement, a couple of years ago, and I'm up walking in the hallway the same day. She will rehab quicker, but on the current, it's just a big blow to USC's team. You can't lose the Juju Watkins, the Lisa Leslies, the Caitlin Clarks, the Diana Taurasi's. Maybe at UConn when you got 8 of those guys that are that good, but you can't lose those type of players, Cheryl Miller's, and think that it's going to be just as easy to get there. They have a team got worse because of an injury, but she's got some good teammates, and they're a pretty damn good team. But it's going to be tough to win the whole thing without her there. It's phenomenal talent. Triple E, is Mike there? Ready to go? Can't hear you, Triple E. There he is. All right. Hey, JB. I know you got something to do, but it's okay because Mike Golic's going to step in. I think he's pretty efficient at all this good stuff, and we got him. JB, I love you, brother. Thanks. Great Mike Golic steps in, longtime partner of mine on television. I still contend, Mike, that the original NFL Tonight crew can put their game up against any now, and we could manufacture some hot takes too, but I digress. He does stuff with his son on DraftKings. He's been through the media. He's a radio Hall of Famer from the Mike and Mike show and longtime NFL player, and his former team's the Super Bowl champs. If I spend my time going through your resume, dude, and all your accomplishments, we'll never get a question in. How you doing, brother? Thanks for the time.
Good. You don't want to do it. You're right. That original NFL Tonight crew of me, you, Merrill Hodge, and Mark Malone. Mark Malone is out here in Arizona. I was golfing with him a few weeks ago. We were kind of reliving the day a little
priceless.
bit. And
I hate you guys right now because you just mentioned you're in Arizona playing golf. So I got an ass you can kiss, Mikey. So you and Malone at the same time. But it's great to have you on, my man. And we had those there. I was there 12 years. You were there 800 years. But those were some of my favorite memories. And just the laughs and talking real true X's and O's and opinion. Let me start there, Mike. I think, and if I'm wrong, we've talked about this before. The greatest thrill of your career is being able to work with your son. Correct. Yeah. Doing those shows and doing stuff. And I mean, come on, we all put it this way. That's one of those things when you wake up and say, wouldn't that be awesome? And you've been able to do it for a long time. And we'll get more thoughts on that. But Mike, what's the highlight of your career? Well, what is the highlight? Not working with your son. I don't care if it's football. Give me one in football and give me one in your post-football career. The highlight of both.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, in my high school career, we lost in the first round of playoffs my senior year. College, we were never better than 7-4. Faced your Trojans all 4 years.
Right.
And in the pros, I only got out of the wild card round one time in 92, and we got smoked by Dallas as that was their first back-to-back. Boy, I tell you, I mean, I only had
play, Mike.
What's that?
I mean, hell, the fish story gets bigger, but you and I were high school All-Americans together on the parade team, which is like the U.S., which would be the equivalent of whatever their top dog thing is now. So Mike and I have been talking about this stuff since we were 17, 18 years old.
We were, man, not only on the team, we were on the cover. Those are things we hold on to. I would probably say the highlight of my pro career was in '89. We blew out the Cowboys. That was right when Jerry Jones bought the team. Jimmy Johnson took over, and we sacked Troy Aikman 11 times in the game.
That's enough to make a guy retire. Right?
Oh yeah. We smoked him. And now remember, in 9 years, I had 11 and a half career sacks. I had 2.5 sacks in that game. So I damn near had 20% of my sacks in that one game out of the hundreds of games that I played. So I was not a sack artist at any stretch. But my time in Philly was the most fun for sure. My time at Notre Dame, obviously, college is just awesome. But unfortunately, I never really had any. The high school All-American thing is nice, but never really any great. Like my son Mike and Jake, they both got to play in a national championship game in 2013. Even though they got smoked by Alabama, they were in the game. You can't win the title unless you're in the game. So they had moments like that. And my senior year in high school, I was ranked the #1 heavyweight in the state, and I lost my first match to Kirk. I ended up taking third, but I lost my first match to a guy named Kirk Loudermilk, who ended up playing a bunch of years.
Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly. He played with the Colts, and was he a teammate of yours in Minnesota?
Yeah, Milk was our starting when we had Randall McDaniel, and how about that line, Mike?
Oh,
we had Loudermilk, who is a scrappy, tough smart guy. Next to him was Randall McDaniel, Hall of Fame. Next to him was Gary Zimmerman. Man, the quarterback wearing 12 with Salisbury at times must have sucked because those guys are really good.
Listen, I had to line up against him when he was with the Colts and with the Vikings, and it just reminded me of me losing to him in the first round of the state wrestling. So, like most athletes, and I say this all the time, most athletes remember the bad over the good.
Oh, for sure.
It just sticks
still
in
to
your
this day, Mike. I remember the 4 picks against Seattle more than I do the touchdown you throw to win a game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm sitting there grinding over, damn, you let your teammates down. What a punk you were that day, right?
It's so true.
But don't you find that all great ones are – I mean, I'm not saying great, but all the athletes I've been around – that, like if Manning goes 25 or 27, he wanted to know why he threw 2 incompletions. Without question, they think of the bad and how they can improve the bad more than the good. The good, they're like, okay, that was good. The good, you actually are like, okay, I did what I was supposed to do. But the bad, you're like, okay, I let the guy next to me down. I let my team down. I got to get better at it. It definitely sticks in your craw more. Before you answer the post-football career, your greatest moment, the thing that you remember the most, aside from working with your son on a daily basis. Let me go back real quick so people know those locker rooms. And I had to play against you guys and Seth Joyner and Eric Allen and Randall Cunningham and Reggie White. And it was miserable, okay? Because when you walked in there and the Mounties at the end of the game are on the horses surrounding and they're throwing stuff here. And I love Philly fans because they care. You know what I mean, Mike?
Yes.
They are. When you're good with no excuses. When you're bad, your home team or away team, they are on your ass.
I'll let you know.
But what were and Jimmy Mack, the whole group there through the time you were there, what were locker rooms and meetings like in Philadelphia?
So it was amazing because Buddy Ryan was our head coach, and Buddy Ryan was a great coordinator, but as a head coach, he really concentrated on the defense. He called the defensive plays. And the defense was great, but I don't think he put enough into the offense. We had some great players on offense. Keith Jackson at tight end, Keith Byers at running back, Randall Cunningham at quarterback, Mike Quick for the beginning of my career in Philadelphia. But it was lacking on offense and defense. We would lead the league basically every year, in some statistical category.
Yeah.
And whenever I talk about greatest, like 1 year, a couple year defenses, I'll bring up the 85 Bears, the 2000 Tampa Bay, Baltimore with Ray Lewis. And people are always like, why don't you bring up your Eagles defense? I said, listen, those teams I mentioned closed the deal. They won the Super Bowl. They were the last team standing. And that's what our game is all about. Who's the last team standing? So while we were a great defense, we didn't win the title. And I would put our defense up against anybody.
Gosh. The
for
preparation
sure.
going into playing you guys, Mike, was brutal because you knew there was more than one game wrecker. It was scary. And
Listen, I was a kid in a candy store in that game. My God, I had Reggie White, Clyde Simmons, Jerome Brown, Seth Joyner, Eric. I mean, my God, I was just happy to be on that defense.
No, and it's one of those during pregame warmup. You started hyperventilating, like, okay, you're going to get hit from the opening throw, and they're going to hit you the whole game, and that's the way you guys operated. And you mentioned our guy Randall Cunningham, who I'm fond of, and his brother, obviously Sam Cunningham at SC, and Randall when he was at UNLV. Mike, what would you saw him up close every day. How good would this version of football? How good would Randall be at this league right now? He
would be Lamar Jackson, right? I mean,
with a bigger arm.
And he probably has a bigger arm than Lamar. I mean, he had a whip on him. And man, now listen, you can track running quarterbacks back to like even Fran Tarkington.
Right.
But when you talk about dynamic, dangerous runners, I mean, you can't, even in today's game, it's tough to surpass Randall and how dangerous he was. And he got put in early in his career, and Buddy Ryan was basically, look to your first read. If it's not there, run. Just take off. So the development may have been a little slower because he was said, hey, just use your athletic ability and run. Where guys, a lot of quarterbacks can run nowadays, but you have to be a proficient passer in the pocket. We know you can scramble and pass, but you have to be proficient in the pocket.
But Buddy was looking at it from, I want you to do what I can't defend. That guy who can make the first guy miss and then run out in space. And
that's exactly right.
With that thing. And then if Randall got bored, he'd just average 50 yards a punt.
Unreal.
What a freak athlete.
Do it all.
Yep. All right, Mike, let me get back to the post playing career. Notre Dame, Philadelphia, great Hall of Famers around you. Had a good long career. All right, so notwithstanding your son that you get to work with every day.
Yeah.
Highlight of your post career, Mike.
Probably the fact that Greeny and I got put in two different a broadcasting Hall of Fame and a radio Hall of Fame,
and deserved,
which was really nice. I mean, it's a great honor, and we went into this business, both of us, post football. Because that's kind of in that time what players did. Now guys make so much money they go into ownership.
They own the radio station,
or they go put buy a soccer team or something.
Right.
So we went in and we just became analysts, and I was fortunate enough to do the radio show, and it just right place, right time, and it took off. So that to be recognized in that way was probably, outside, like you said, of working with my son, was probably the highlight,
and well deserved. That Hall of Fame, that was obvious. The show, the talent on it, Mike. When you and Greeny, and I obviously was there at the time, but when you guys were paired together, did you? Because completely different personalities approach. It's all been made. We've all made fun of it forever. Did you? Were you thinking it was almost like when Clayton and I were doing four downs? A different mix, right? It was one thinks completely different than the other, but it was gold for us because, I love John and God bless him. But with you and Greeny, did you think it was going to work? Was that what would you think? Well, how is it? Did it feel right for you, even though you'd done Sports Center stuff with him? Did it feel right?
So Tony Bruno and I actually started the first ESPN radio morning show. And Tony left in October of 99. And Greeny and I started the new year of 2000, so just a couple of months later. But in that time, they brought in 13 different candidates. They would fly them in from around the country, men, women, everything. And it was like every day I'd go on the air, and it was like an audition for these people, 13 different people. And there was one time, there was a gap where nobody could come in. So Greeny was doing ESPN News at that point. So they just asked him to fill in. He was not a candidate.
Yeah, he was doing the 6 o'clock, right, Mike?
He was doing the 6 o'clock, I think, once a week with Dan Patrick.
That's right.
And he was doing ESPN News. And they asked him to fill in. I met him 10 minutes before the show at 6 in the morning, 5 to 6. 10 to 6, I met him. And Greeny, we started the show. And I was back in my just out of football days, I was still fat. I was pretty heavy. And Greeny tells a story where he did this, where he said he would either get me to laugh or I'd punch him. But right off the bat, he made the joke that we look like the number 10, him being the skinny guy, me being the fat guy. And I laughed. I'm as self-deprecating as the next guy. But during all those tryouts of people, after the first segment, I would leave the studio and call my wife because she listens all the time. And she'd be like, oh, that person has potential. Oh, you got a long 4 hours ahead of you or something, about the person I'm auditioning. So with Greeny, after the first 15 minutes, I go out and I call her and she said, he sounds kind of geeky. She said, but he's the one. Right. I said, he's not really even a candidate. She said, he's the guy. And it just kind of rolled from there. It was kind of the yin and the yang, kind of like you and John, God rest his soul. I mean, and it just kind of snowballed. I mean,
Greeny, Hall of Fame plaques. And
even when we started, Greeny didn't want to give up his sports center gig because he didn't know how long this radio show would last, and it ended up lasting a few years.
Yeah, a lot of years. Mike, why'd it end? Well, what we all, I know as a fan, because I love both of you guys, right? And I love the dynamic worked, like you said. And I know it had gone a long time, but and I mean this affectionately. You feel cheated. I want Mike and Mike more.
Right.
I want him more. Why did it end, Mike?
Well, I mean, at the point we've been together almost 18 years.
Right.
Greeny wanted to be in New York, and he wanted to have his own show. And listen, as I've said all along, that's fine. I mean, that's his right to do. Just the communication or the lack of communication made it kind of rough. And for the fact that this happened like over a year before we actually went off air.
Right.
So it's a shame that there was a lack of communication, because it could have been the last year of like kind of celebrating, hey, right, we're coming to the end. But as I've always said, he wanted to do his own thing, and that's fine. He has every right to do his own thing, but just the lack of communication of it ending was what made it a little tough.
Mike, have you guys talked about it since then?
We haven't really talked about it. We and this business. I mean, even people always said, "Are you great friends with Greeny?" I'm like, here's the thing: we actually in Connecticut lived an hour and a half away from one another. So you get there before the show, you do the show, and then the show ends. I go home, he goes home. I had 3 kids by that point.
Right.
When we started
taxi cab service, brother.
Yeah, when we started doing the show, he had no kids. So in all honesty, outside of the show, we didn't have a lot in common. We were great work friends for sure, but we were never lived by one another to hang out socially or anything like that. Now, he had kids along the way, and we got to know them and stuff, but a lot. But we just lived. We had different lives, quite honestly. But it just worked on air.
Do you miss it?
Oh yeah.
The daily grind?
Listen, yeah. I didn't want it to end. I wish we were still doing it today. I do miss it. But like I said, things change. They move on. From that, I got to work with my son. So even though we talk about Hall of Fames, with Greeny and I, still the highlight is my God, when you could turn on a microphone and talk for 4 hours and you're next to your kid. I mean, it's just an awesome thing.
Yeah, isn't that the way it's supposed to be, Mike? Yeah. That's a Hall of Fame moment every single day to be with your boy. And I know what a great family man you are. And it's truth. It's turned out great for both of you guys, tremendous careers, and you're both still doing it at a top level. Mike, let me get to, you mentioned earlier when you mentioned Notre Dame and how we feel about our alma mater.
Right.
And you've always been transparent about everything that's ever gone on in sports or anything we've ever done. I've never known you any different. Does the transfer portal work for you or not, Mike? How's this college football, college basketball thing work? Because I said on the show earlier this week or yesterday, I said, when you transfer, I understand why guys, certain moments of why you transfer. There's outliers for everything. And it's not a hater thing or getting paid and all that. Hell, you and I wish we'd have got paid coming out of high school. I promise you that. But I said that your college team is always more embedded in your soul than your NFL teams. You have great friends, but I mean, I'm not live and die Trojan. I respect, and you're the same about Notre Dame. We've had some bets for years after our careers in college ended. So embedded in your soul, Mike, it's not embedded in a lot of guys' soul anymore. Does it bother you?
Well, yeah. I mean, overall, the new scheme bothers me. So I come at it from 2 ways. First, the NCAA was like Pontius Pilate. They washed their hands of this and let the portal and NIL be the wild
They turned and ran, right, Mike? Ran from it.
You know what? Adults didn't step up and put guardrails up and rules up. They just and if you're an 18 to 22-year-old player, hell yeah, you're going to take advantage of that. You're going to sign for money. You're going to go to another team where you think you can play. So from that side of it, I blame the adults. Do I love the new system the way it's constituted with no rules? No. But here's the other side I go to in working in this business now for a long time and maybe gaining some wisdom. There's no sense in complaining about it because it ain't going to change. It's not, the horse didn't go back in the barn, the toothpaste not back in the tube, any cliche you want. But what needs to happen going forward is they need to figure out some rules, some guidelines because right now college players have better free agency than the NFL. Well, and they can go year to year. I mean, there's no guardrails up. NIL now that may go to revenue sharing, but again, not really any guardrails up. So the adults need to step up, but the adults and the NCAA are always worried when they make a move, they're going to get sued and lose in court because that's what they do. They lose in court. And then you have the SEC and the Big Ten thinking we're better than everybody else. Should we separate and take the Power Four and separate? But I don't think they'll ever get along enough to maybe do that. I mean, there's directions everybody talks about going, but there's no unification. Like we talk about players and revenue sharing. Well, they need to unionize. Hell, in the NFL, we had a hard time getting 1,800 players on the same page. Imagine 11,000. Right. I mean, it's just not going to happen. The adults have to step up and make the rules, but the almighty dollar rules the day. So at the end of it all, like I said, it's not going away, but the adults need to manage it better. From the player standpoint, I get what you're saying, but players are like, listen, I have 5 years basically to show my wares to the NFL. Am I going to sit behind this guy for 2 years or am I going to go somewhere and play? So while you and I love our school, and I have no doubt players today love their school, but they're also looking for their opportunity.
They can love 4 schools instead of just one, right?
Exactly right. And while only 2% make it to the NFL, 98% think they're going to, and that's okay. Right. That's okay to have that dream and try and pursue that dream.
The adults screw up everything, Mike. And you go back about those cliches, the toothpaste is like when you take your lady, and this is a compliment and affection towards the ladies. Hey, and you kind of pass by, you're getting engaged or you're looking at the engagement ring and you pass by the 6-carat one, Mike. It's like, whoo, you stop and you say, no, come on, let's keep moving over here. There's this, once they see that one, it's like, man, I got to take you back to the cubic zirconia because I can't afford anything. I don't have NIL money when you're 22 years old. So, but it's true that it's there to stay, Mike. It's just how we're going to regulate. So, okay, you're in charge of the NC2A, and I'm your right-hand man. Fair enough? Let me add just a couple things. Should we be able, and you do the yes or no and why it won't work. I come to you and say, Micah, the NIL and all the money that's invested in all this transfer portal, I'm going to go back to protecting both sides. If you want to be treated like a big grown-ass man, I'm going to treat you like it. Game 3, you were a 4 or 5-star recruit. You're not panning out. You missed a couple team meetings late. I'm cutting you. In the regular game 4 in the college season, I'm cutting you. You're no longer on scholarship at this university. You want to go to class, you're paying for it yourself. You can go to your free agent. Should we be allowed to cut college players?
I don't think I would go that far because then we've turned it in. We're kind of hovering, and people are afraid to say,
right, Mike?
We're in the employee-employer standpoint, right? Yep. It's like not using the term student athlete seems funny anymore, right? It really does. But man, I don't know if I want it to go that far. But again, it depends on how the rest of it is set up. Where you're an actual employee, are you getting benefits as an employee? Is the revenue sharing? How is it compared to pro sports? I mean, you're talking the whole ball. It's almost like you can't dip your toe in to being an employer-employee relationship. You got to dive all the way in. Right. And that would scare me a little bit.
Okay. What about, great point. What about, I say I'm putting a salary cap on the transfer portal NIL?
Well, I think that may happen. I think the salary cap may go to the schools. Like the schools may be capped.
That's what I mean. Each school.
Oh, yeah. I think now here's the thing. How do you stop NIL? Because revenue sharing and NIL are two different things. Absolutely. NIL is a player going out and having a car dealership pay them for talking about their cars. Revenue sharing is school makes X amount of money, players get X percentage of that money, and they get a payout from it. So Do you do revenue sharing, but let the players still have NIL? Like I said, I don't think NIL is going to go away. So now they would basically have two streams of income, especially the better players. You're talking about everybody would be included in revenue sharing, but NIL would still be saved for the better players. But I definitely think there at some point there will be a cap.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
So it's the Wild West is at least just West, not so wild.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, one last thing, Mike. We talk about this and how many times they go. You listen to Coach Calipari. He's getting ready for a Sweet 16 game and wondering if he's got to keep recruiting his guys so they don't leave on him during the tournament. I got a real problem with it being open to transfer during March Madness. I just do. I think that's part of the regulations, which is crazy. It's tough enough to win, as we both well know, and then to have to focus on that. While I understand the adults in the room and the coaches have had a chance, but they've also when they say, well, the adults had it, why can't an 18-year-old kid have it like the coaches do? Well, the coaches went through a lot of years of doing it, and not everybody's treated the same. A superstar's not treated the same as a backup. That's the way it works. So with this, the next level of this, what about buyout stuff? You know how we have for Kirby Smart? I want Kirby to come coach me. You got $15 million to pay? Are we going to start putting a dollar sign on the players and saying, you want to transfer a second time? And it's not one of those hardship injury transfers? Then here's the dollar sign. It's a $5 million buyout for you to come get my quarterback.
So that gets back to employee-employer, right, because that's what a coach is.
Labor
a coach is employee of the school, even though in a lot of states, the college football coach is the highest paid state employee. So now you're getting back to employee. I hate the transfer portal being during the tournament. I hate the fact, listen, look at the college football teams that are stopping their spring games.
Yeah,
they're done. They're done showcasing their players because the portal is open from April 16th to April 25th, right during spring games. Now, Deion Sanders wants to go the other way and bring in a team and do it like the NFL does in training camp, practice with a team. I think Fran Brown from Syracuse said he would go, but it's against NCAA rules, so it's not going to happen this year. But, I mean, you're having the transfer portal right during spring football or the end of spring football. That's something they need to figure out of when they want to use the portal for basketball and football.
And it's starting to filter down into high schools, Mike. We see high schools. Okay, so you were a top recruit, one of the biggest recruits in the country when you were coming out. You and I, like I said, we've had many conversations about it. So you got a kid who now is, let's say you got a young kid, it's 15, 16 is a stud, right? I mean, your kids came along before NIL.
That would be my grandkid.
What's that? Yeah, Greg, there you go. And you're sitting in the living room. Are you asking the same questions that these coaches say they're getting out? It's no longer, am I going to be on national TV? Am I getting a chance to compete? Am I going to, what does the school have my major? It's now, are you asking the same things, Mike, of what kind of money is my kid getting paid? Let's say you have the best center, the best tight end in the country, or the best quarterback in the country is your grandkid. What questions are you asking the coach, the prospective coach?
Well, I mean, I'm asking all the normal questions, but that's added now to the questionnaire. Yep. It has to be, right? I mean, because players are getting paid. So you have to find out what's the pay scale? What is my son, potentially going to make? That's absolutely a fair question. Now, I think it turns off some coaches if the parent asks that as the first question of what is my kid going to get paid. But you definitely weave it in there because you know what is it's about money. It used to be about, now for me, it was different because it was years ago. My brother Bob went to Notre Dame. My brother Greg was going to Notre Dame.
You're a legacy guy, Notre Dame. Right? You're a legacy guy.
Yeah, legacy. And my kids all grew up on Notre Dame. So they wanted to go to Notre Dame. So we were kind of a different story. But if you're freelancing out there, hell yeah, that's a fair question to ask because it's now part of the fabric of college sports. Again, that's not going away.
Okay, now let me reverse this and we'll move on. A couple more minutes with Mike Golic. You're a coach. You could be the coach of the athletic director. I'll be the opposite. I come to you and there's a 5-star guy he's transferring. And he's transferred 2 times, Mike, 3 times, not because of an injury, because he just transferring to transfer because he's either chasing the money or got beat out, but still comes highly regarded by some. Are you taking guys that have transferred 2 or 3 times into your fray?
So a lot depends. Listen, I could look at my own school for doing that.
Right.
2 years ago, they brought in Sam Hartman from Wake Forest. Last year, they brought in Riley Leonard from.
But those were one transfer guys, senior transfers that had graduated, right, Mike? Right. Both of them.
Make them juniors, make them sophomores.
Right.
It all depends on your quarterback room. Now, Notre Dame said this year they're not bringing any transfers because they have, a couple of quarterbacks, especially the young one in CJ Carr, who they want to, because you know as well as I do, if you got guys behind the transfer you bring in and you keep bringing transfers in, the guys behind them are going to transfer.
They're gone.
They're going to leave. So now Notre Dame is to the point where they're going to develop their young quarterbacks and not go to the transfer portal. So a lot depends, if I'm the coach, Sean, in all honesty, how good is my team? Is my team on the brink? Could my team challenge for a conference championship and a playoff spot? But at the quarterback position, I only have a freshman or a sophomore who hasn't played a lot. You're damn right I'm going to the portal.
And Mike, also, if you're in a should I say maybe a lame duck year of a contract, that this is for the coach and his staff. You want to do another 5-year renewal, right?
Yeah, you don't want to build with a young quarterback for the future when you're not included in the future.
And he ends up playing for somebody else, or
exactly.
Your coach. That's exactly right. Mike, are you on Sundays? I know you're a sports junkie. With the way the NFL games played now, I mean, the talent's through the roof. We know all that. Do you watch it with the same pen? Do you set your clock by Sunday NFL, because you got to talk about it? I'm talking about, forget work for a second. Do you set your clock by watching games on Sunday like you used to?
I still, now, truth be known, I call the Sunday night games for Westwood
I do know for a fact.
So yeah. I'm usually at a hotel of the game I'm going to call the standalone game Sunday night, and I have my iPad and I have it on the Red Zone channel to watch all the games.
Right.
But I still, and a lot of it is I can't get out of the habit because I'm still doing a show to watch the games to how I'm going to talk about it, just like you would
on your Sunday night broadcast
on the show. But I still really watch it as an analyst, still being in the booth. It's tough for me to not watch it as a former player, as an analyst, than just kind of a fan.
Do you think there'll ever come a time when golf on a Sunday at 1:00 is more like, let's say you decide to retire, which for you, I'm not anywhere near wanting to retire. I love doing this too much. And I think I've heard you say the same thing. Like you still love doing it. Plus you don't want to drive your good wife crazy because you know damn well you would, right?
She ain't ready for me to be
home. She knows about as much sports as you and I combined too. So with that, will there come a time when you're not doing this, that whether I know grandkids, but that, I missed some of my Sunday football? Or will it still always be I'm an analyst and I'm going to be 105 watching? Or will it kind of
it'll be secondary.
The wayside?
It'll be secondary. It'll be secondary to the grandkids, because by the time I'm done, I have 3 grandkids, another one on the way. The grandkids will be probably in Little League.
You'll be going to their games.
Whether they play on Sundays or not, I don't know. I don't know the schedule of Little Leagues now, but I'll be doing stuff with them. Or quite honestly, I may watch golf. But it because for so many years, not that we don't want to watch it, because we both love the game,
right,
but we had to watch it. So now I'll watch it you know what? I'll sit down and watch a game, but it's not like I have to sit down and watch a game. If I'm looking around and I have really nothing else to do, I'll flip a game on. That's I think how it will be. I will not set my clock by football when I'm retired.
I hear you. Anything in your broadcast career that you haven't done that you want to do? My man, your resume is deep and long and successful. Is there something still? I mean, you know the game as well as anybody. Is there something that you haven't done that you want to do?
I mean, I was on the call for 2 Super Bowls. God, that's the height of our sport. Oh man,
You've done studio shows leading up to games, Super Bowls,
studio shows. I mean, I can't think of any. Doing a Super Bowl was probably the last thing that I wanted to accomplish was calling a Super Bowl.
How about
I was able to do that.
Go ahead and finish.
I was able to do that for Westwood One for a couple of years. And I think that was the one thing, because I really can't think of anything else. I mean,
think how cool that is, Mike. Think about it. Notre Dame all the way through. You've accomplished everything you've ever set your mind to, and probably exceeded some of your goals too, I would imagine, just because, some things we're not thinking of just kind of fall into place. But think about it. What a career you've had, and it's well earned.
probably one of the coolest things outside of involved with football is Greeny and I got to throw out like 3 or 4 first pitches.
Right.
And unfortunately I bounced almost all of them in and got mercilessly booed, which I should get. I should get booed.
Well, then they played the "You're a lineman" card on it, right? They played that card. They always
just
do.
Brutal.
Yeah, I remember when they sent Dan out. When they sent Dan and I in Milwaukee at the All-Star game to be those hot dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Dan cuts across the field. I pull my hammy's about to fall on the ground. Dude, I'm thinking, Sean, what the hell are you doing? But I look back and think, you know what? That's some of the great highlights of my career.
Cool.
Stupidity, right?
Yes.
And I love those people. I'm thinking, you're putting me in this. First of all, it's going to take a day and a half for me to run. Time us with the damn with the damn hourglass. It's going to take a long time, man.
And then a week to recover. You're right. Your hammies are singing.
The recovery time. All right, let me end with this. All the good stuff you've had. You got to do everything. Is there a regret along the line in your career? A regret that you did something that you should, that you didn't get to do something you wanted to do. I'm not even talking about pride. Maybe you said something, or maybe it was, being a coach at Notre Dame. Is there something that you haven't done in your career? What is it?
It's probably it. When I retired, Bud Carson was my one of my D coordinators in Philly, the late great Bud Carson, one of the great defensive coordinators of all time. And when I retired in '94, my last team was with the Dolphins. Bud was with the St. Louis Rams, you young kids. The Rams used to be in St. Louis, you youngsters. And Bud called me and he said, Mike, he said, I think you could have a great career in coaching. I'd like to bring you on and make you the assistant D-line coach with him, with the team he was at, and go up from there. And my kids were young then. And it was 94. My kids were born in 94, 90, and 89. So, just kind of starting to grow up. And I remember talking with my wife about it. And I just decided the kids were too young. I knew about coaches. We know coaches. And I called Bud back. I said, Bud, listen, I would love to go down this road, but between my kids being young, knowing when I get to work as a player, you're already there. When I leave, you're still there. I said, I just don't know if I could commit and be away from the family that much. Now, as I got older and the kids grew up, when I got older, I started thinking that's probably one. I really think I could have been a decent coach, a position coach. So that would probably be something that I wish I may have tried along the way.
We talked. I'll leave you with this. We talked. I get so caught up. I want to keep it for 4 hours, but I know you have a life, and I don't even mention that you're going to go play golf again with somebody. In Scottsdale I had Dan on my show, my local show, and Dan Patrick, and I said, "What's the end game?" He talked about the retirement. He goes, "On Christmas, December 25th of 2027." I said, "You're done." I said, "We're going to give you the going away party with the rocking chair." He said, "Done. Never again. No more." Well, Dan's a Hall of Famer. Your Hall of Fame career. Is there an end game? Is there an end date? Does it have the date where you said, this is when I'm done no matter what?
I don't have a date. At some point, I'll keep working with my son. I keep telling him, dude, if you want to go out, work with someone younger, go, break away, do your thing. But we worked together the last 3 years, me and Mike and Trey Wingo, after me and Greeny ended for 3 years. And Mike and I have been doing a show together for a few years, and that's going to continue. So I don't have an end date. It's probably when that runs out, when I'm either feel I'm too old for it, losing my mind, or just don't feel like doing it anymore, or Mike has a better opportunity. Mike already has great opportunities elsewhere. He's built some great things together, but he's
your last partner, is what you're telling me.
After working with him, I'm not going to work with anybody else. No.
That's a great dude. It's a script that is when that happens, you get to walk away, and he decides he's going to fire his old man.
Yeah.
Did you know you've arrived, brother?
Yeah. How about it? I hope he lets me down gently.
There you go. Soft landing spot, brother. You can land. Just let us land right at Whisper Rock in Scottsdale.
That's it.
It'll work for all of us.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to tell you, brother, it's so, no matter how long it's been since we've been able to see each other in person, or how long it is, whenever we have these conversations, always something new and good. And man, your career has been nothing short of phenomenal. You're a great friend, a phenomenal family man. I love you, and I really appreciate it. And you had, dude, your fastball is still there 100%. And you look
Well,
great. Man.
Listen, yours is too, my friend. We go a long way back. We're still doing our thing, and we'll continue to be on each other's shows until we're done with this thing.
And I was going to beg you to do a show with me, but I think the sun takes precedence there.
Yeah, because listen, believe me, I thought about that. You and I doing a show together. My God, we could do an 8-hour show and it would go by in a flash.
Can we tease them a little so somebody just makes us NIL money offers?
Yeah,
so
how about it? How about it? We want guaranteed deals.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mike, great stuff, man. Please, my best to the family, and I look forward to having you join me again. Does always great stuff and great info, brother.
Sounds good, Sean. Thanks, buddy.
That's a great
Take
Mike
care.
Golic. Love him. One of the great partners, and I know we joke about it, but when Mark Malone and then Trey Wingo took over, and Haji, and then Mark Schlereth came in with Mike and I, career paths similar too. That both high school All-Americans, the same high school All-American team, both wanted to have 10 or 15-year Pro Bowl careers, and whether it's injury or not accomplishing all we wanted to on the field. And Mike mentioned his sacks, and as a backup and sometimes starter, and then going into the broadcast career, we both went from there to radio and to television. Ended up on the same set. Post career, we're doing it. So yeah, it's been similar. He's had a Hall of Fame career, and Mike was one of the most epic and best shows we've ever had. And I think a lot of people probably miss it. You hate to see those things in, but both guys have gone on and carved out phenomenal careers. And Mike, one of my closest friends and one of my most loyal and honorable work partners. Love him. Great to have him with it. Let me close this out and tease tomorrow. We'll have Warren Moon tomorrow. This is our Premier Gold Studios. As you guys know, we talked about the pressure of games. When you played Philadelphia, you got hit in the mouth all the time as a quarterback. Whether it's Reggie or Mike or Jerome Brown, they beat on you. And there's pressure and trying to win games. And there's pressure on these quarterbacks when they go in and these players to exceed expectations and to be able to handle it. But if you throw an interception in game 3, normally you're going to get a chance to, throw a touchdown in game 4, right? You're going to get a chance. Well, what happens is when that does happen, you go back and deal with the pressure, and hopefully coach puts you back in and you get to go do your thing. But in real life, it's different. And when it comes to your finances, and Premier Gold goes right there with a great playbook and a game plan for you. Think about this now. It's hard to recover at 65, which you had a chance to make at 30 or protect 30. It's hard to recover at 75 when you're in retirement, stock market crash, or your 401k or your IRA that you invested in, and when you were rolling, when you were hitting it all and everything was great, all of a sudden starts to wane a little bit and you're taking losses. How do you go back and how do you recover from that? Tangible assets help. Listen, when it comes to what Premier Gold's doing, and with gold and silver and those real tangible assets in your hand, precious metals, I've teamed with Premier Gold. Listen, losses on Wall Street can affect your retirement, your peace of mind, your health forever. So let's get out in front of this thing. And it is why, with this playbook, and why I've teamed with the great group at Premier Gold. Not a selfish purpose. I want to protect what's mine, but also I'm with the best group in the way that they take care of their customers and help you protect what's yours, protect your wealth. It's not just building it, it's protecting it and preserving it as well. So they've helped a lot of people like me and you, and will continue to do so with physical gold and real tangible assets that stand the test of time. Inflation, market swings, national debt, all of it eats away at your retirement savings, but not precious metals. Precious metals, physical gold and silver, can provide security and freedom. And really, aside from health, which those add to it, in your retirement, after you put all those years of work in, isn't security and freedom and peace of mind? Aren't those three things at the top of the list for all of us? Yeah, I don't think we'll have regrets doing that. Premier Gold will make it easy for retirees to own gold and offer expert guidance with that playbook of life that they have in finances, and a simple rollover process with no hidden fees. So if you're close to retirement, if you're 30 years away from retirement, or if you're in retirement, you need a plan to protect what's yours. And just like in a game of football or in a game of basketball, shooting free throws at the free throw line, all that pressure, this is no longer a game. It's the game of life, and that's a legacy. That's your future. That's your health. That's your wealth. That's your family. That's collateral damage if you don't protect it. So give them a call today. Don't wait till it's too late. Give them a call at 949-566-8666. This is Premier Gold Co. And let you walk through how precious metals can help you and protect your retirement. Again, it's 949-566-8666. The Premier Gold team is there, standing by with a free one-on-one consultation to walk you through rolling over your 401k or your IRA into physical precious metals. Those precious metals and tangible assets in your hand It's a good thing. Premier Gold is the only team I trust and recommend to friends, family, anybody that'll listen. Hopefully all of them do. And you listeners, give them a call, 949-566-8666. That's 949-566-8666. And protect what's yours. And if it's going to protect you and make your life simpler, why wouldn't you do it? Tangible assets. Go to securepremiergoldco.com/Sean. That's secure.premiergoldco.com/Sean. One more time, secure.premiergoldco.com/Sean. And let's talk to them about gold and silver and precious metals, how they can protect you and your great future that you've worked so hard to preserve, and your retirement, so you can actually have peace of mind and enjoy it. All right, as we close here today, we'll have Warren Moon on. You saw how good Mike Golic is. You guys have been watching him for years. We got another Hall of Famer on tomorrow, Warren Moon, who's got a great feel, guys, for years ago, the players he played against, and he was at the golden era of quarterbacks. He just was. The Kellys, Marinos, Favres, Montana. I mean, that group was so friggin' good, and I was fortunate to be a part of it. I wasn't one of the great ones, but I got to watch him up close. Warren's a former teammate of mine, one of my best friends in the world, shared some incredible times together. Can remember when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame and what that meant to him as the first African-American quarterback, and quite frankly, just a great player. How race affected him when he came out. How is it now? How does he feel? We've transformed this position. And he's the mechanics, everything about Warren Moon when it comes to this, and having a great, mature, and a guy you can lean on. We'll be able to talk to him tomorrow. We'll dive as deep as you can possibly dive. It will be, obviously, as it always is, raw and real, and the way you deserve it every single day when you're turning on to watch sports and get the real story. Warren Moon will be a part of that tomorrow. And throughout the rest of the week, we'll bring it to you. Coach JB and myself. I'm Sean for Triple E, Laura Palmisano, Craig Larson, the great team we have here. There's my guy right there. More to discuss tomorrow, and thanks to Mike Golic. Priceless. Hall of Fame career. Love him. One of the best on the planet. Still got a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in this business as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Share it with your friends. Great stuff. Always appreciate you listeners and viewers coming on here. That's why we do it, man. We get to talk. We get to do this for a living. Times are good, man. I appreciate you. It's Sean Salisbury, Unpaved, and we'll be back to it again tomorrow. Thanks so much, and we'll see you then. Appreciate you.